So today we celebrate the solemnity of the most holy body and blood of Christ. And to help us enter into this celebration, we have these readings which speak about the Old Covenant and the New Covenant. In the first reading, we hear about the Old Covenant, that God chose the Jewish people and revealed to them the Ten Commandments, the way of life. And so Moses presents to the people the Ten Commandments, which shows them the way to happiness, the way to life, the way to live. And we know the Ten Commandments. You shall have no gods besides God. Keep holy the Sabbath. You shall not use the Lord's name in vain. Honor your father and mother. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife. You shall not bear false witness. And so the people, listening to these, said to Moses, "We will do everything that the Lord has told us." And so this covenant was sealed with the blood of young bulls. And again, all that the Lord has said, we will heed and do. We recognize this is the truth. This comes from our Creator. He's God. He's revealing to us the way. And so we will do everything that the Lord has told us. And then the history of Israel is a history where they continually fail to keep the Ten Commandments. They continually worship false gods. They forget about God. They don't follow the commandments. And so the prophets were speaking about a new covenant, where that would not be written in stone, but upon their hearts, that God would give them a new spirit. And what we hear in the gospel is that Jesus, with his apostles, is preparing to celebrate the Passover, as the Jews did then, as the Jews do now. And what is it that they're celebrating in the Passover? The Passover is they're celebrating, remembering how God has acted in their lives. God has intervened in their history. The people were in slavery, enslaved to Pharaoh. So slavery is a terrible thing. You're not able to do what you want to do. You're somehow forced to do the will of another. But God heard their cry. God sent Moses to lead them out of Egypt. And they witnessed their enemies being destroyed in the Red Sea. God led them through the desert and into the Promised Land. And so at the Last Supper, this is what they're celebrating. They're celebrating this Passover. But the Jewish people have this understanding that we do as well. The liturgy is something outside of time. And so by participating in an event, that event is made real, it's made present, that you enter into this mystery. And so this is what they were celebrating, that God is the one who entered into their history. God is the one who acts with strong arm. And it's something that God has done out of his mercy, bringing the people out of slavery and bringing them into the Promised Land. And while they were celebrating this, Jesus says what we heard in the gospel. While they were eating, he took bread, said the blessing, broke it, gave it to them and said, "Take it. This is my body." Then he took a cup, gave thanks, and gave it to them, and they all drank from it. He said to them, "This is my blood of the covenant, which will be shed for many." Exactly what they were celebrating, they realized, was only a preparation, only a prefiguration, it reached its fulfillment in the Eucharist. That what they were celebrating was made present with them right there. That God was entering into their lives. God was entering into their history. God was present among them to bring them out of slavery, slavery to the evil one, slavery to everything that oppressed them. And that he was carrying them, bringing them into eternal life, which is life with God, sharing his life with them so they could participate in the divine life. After the Last Supper, Jesus entered into his passion. And just as the bread was broken, his body was broken. And he gave his blood as a sacrifice for the new covenant. And then he took his body into heaven, into eternity, into the presence of God. And so Jesus Christ is offering his body and blood for us. He's at the right hand of the Father, so that when we participate in this mystery, we enter already into this mystery. It's a foretaste of heaven. Because when we eat the body and blood, we enter into communion with him. And this is the new covenant. It's what God has done. It's what God continues to do. It's a mystery that we participate in. It's one that's made real this morning. And because he comes to us, because he unites himself to us, because he's dwelling inside of us, this is the new spirit. This is the new heart. And now it's possible. It's possible to fulfill the 10 Commandments. It's possible to fulfill the law. It's possible to love as he loves, not in our strength, not in our effort, because of the new covenant, because of what Jesus Christ has done for us, because he's present with us, giving himself to us. And so it's him who is living inside of us. It's him who's loving in us, living in us, acting through us. And so this is the new covenant, what God has done for us. And this is what we celebrate on this solemnity of the most holy body and blood of Christ. And now we pass to the Eucharist, where we're able to participate, where this mystery is made present, where he truly is here, he truly is present, he truly is giving us himself. And so whatever slavery we might find ourselves into, maybe we continue to yell at our kids, maybe we continue to be lustful, maybe we can, whatever it is, he comes to us. He gives us the strength. He comes as our help. He comes to save us. He comes to free us. He comes to bring us into eternal life. And so let us believe this mystery. Let us enter into this mystery. Let us participate in this event that's made real, made present for us in this Eucharist and in every Eucharist. And so now we continue to give thanks for what God has done for us, that he's heard our cry. He's entered into our history. He's entered into our reality so that he can carry us into eternity.